Welcome back, guys. Thank you for coming and joining us on this segment of Couch Surfing. It's your boy Maui.
I am Pop Tart.
And this is Couch Surfing. So we're bringing it inside today. We wanted to talk about something a little different. Still, I don't know if it's an out-of-the-box topic. It's more of like conceptuals, right? So today we wanted to go into more allegorical ideas, right? A deal with in this world, how do people view themselves? How do we view, not people, but how do we view this, in a sense that can make sense to us, right? A lot of people today are using the terms sheep, right? But sheep have to be guided, right? So there's got to be a shepherd, right? And they have to be protected, so there must be sheepdogs. And also, what are we protecting them from? There's wolves in this world. So, let's break that down and let's get into that, right? So, again, this is Maui, and that's Pop Tart. This is Couch Surfing, and that's the topic. Let's do it. All right, so, I came up with this topic because, in this world, like I said, it seems today there's a lot of sheep out here. For better or worse, right? But it just seems like a lot of people just listen to the masses or listen to what social media or multimedia
or they just don't want to think for themselves. Or
that too. It's a lot. That has to do a lot with it, at least from my perspective.
And it could be like a cultural thing, or it could just be like they just don't want to get into arguments. Or whatever.
Well, that's the thing too. Is was it because of how they were raised? Is it because of how their parents' ideals were?
Or do they just not want to converse anymore and just I'll just do this just so you'll leave me alone.
And some people are like that, right? They're like, oh, these are my ideals and I'm going to die by them. And that's cool, right? That's fine, right? And some people are opposite like that. And they're like, okay, those are ideals, but do I want to follow them? Let me check in first, right? So for me, I don't know. I don't want to say it. I don't see myself. It's weird. If I do see myself as a sheep, I don't see myself as a normal sheep. I'm more of the black sheep that's I see the crowd going one direction. I'm going to go the opposite. For better or worse.
There's always a stray sheep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that's the thing is, if we don't have stray sheep, how do we know where the boundaries are?
And then how does the shepherd know if he's doing his job or not?
Right. That's what we always got to, and that's how we do things, right? And I could tie this into a little history lesson for you, but Andrew Jackson, right, was one of our presidents, early presidents. And the funny thing with him was they tried to pass a lot of bills and he wouldn't there's a veto process through him. The way he did it, he just didn't sign the bills, right? So at the end of if bills got passed, the president would sign them off. And for him, he just went, no. And no one did a thing about it, right? So people were they were all upset because they didn't do that, but that's where we got to enforce those rules. So we need those stray sheeps to kind of help us fill out those gray areas, put the color in there, and make sure we can find out, we're really just trying to thin out gray areas with that. What is your what is your ideal concepts of sheeps, sheeples, shepherds?
Do you want me to just run through all four? Or?
Yeah, okay, let's.
I kind of think the sheep one's the most obvious. It's kind of just someone who doesn't really think for themselves, or they just kind of go by what someone's told, right? But in every situation, there's you might be a sheep. If you're
always
in school, there's a teacher and you're a student. So in that sense, teacher is a shepherd, you are the sheep, right? But there's always those students who do push back against the shepherd, which doesn't mean that you're not a sheep. It just means that you know that you don't want to just always follow people, and you're working your way to being something else, right?
Yes, definitely. And that's the thing too. Is have you ever noticed the shepherd's never trying to they're trying to guide you, but they're never forceful.
Yeah, and they know each sheep is, even though if they are all sheep, everyone's different kind of.
Oh, yeah. And that's what it means for individuality, right? Sheep's, right? They're a collective of a herd, but each sheep is different, right?
Yeah.
If we're in the same herd and you and I are sheep, obviously we have differences and we're not going to fall under the same patterns of everything.
I'm sorry. Hey everybody, this is Waffles. Just want to say hi.
It's kind of in sports where you have a bunch of role players, so they might all be a sheep in a sense.
Yeah.
But each role player has a different role on the team, even though they're not all the star player,
Yeah.
they're still like in their own subset. They have their differences.
Definitely. And like that's another thing is like you can notice, and we can take it to sports for sure. Like you notice which players are definitely are shepherds, right? Most of the time in football, it's going to be the quarterback or whoever is like the captain, right? So like again, most of the time it's going to be the quarterback. They run all the plays. They have the widest view of the field, and they're the ones with the ball. They make the plays. They throw the ball. They hand it off. You know, they're the ones that do most of the work.
Would you say they're the shepherd, or would you say they're the guard dog, though?
Oh, the sheepdogs? Definitely the shepherd, right? Because they're the ones making the coaches obviously always throw the suggestions, but they have last say of play calls always, right? I mean, if you've ever played football, right, as you progress to a point, because most of the time you're going to listen to what your coaches say, till you get to that professional level where it's like you make those like they call them audibles, right? Like where it's like, oh wait,
see something on the field, the coach does it. Yeah,
exactly. You're like, okay, I could see that they're calling our run play, so you know what, audible, we're switching to, or like, you know, we're gonna switch up our play last second. It's like gonna be a pass. Exactly, play actions. Exactly. So like in that sense, I do think quarterbacks are more like shepherds in a sense, but I mean some quarterbacks aren't though, right?
Yeah,
it's not like all quarterbacks are shepherds. I think it gets more gray when we talk about basketball because there's not. I mean, like you can say, oh, point guards, but like
it's not true.
Well, like if you look at like someone like LeBron, he definitely seems more like a shepherd, right?
Yeah, and if you look at like a Kawhi, his play is like a shepherd, but his voice is not as powerful.
Yes, exactly. Like he's not a sheep, that's for sure. Yeah. He has the actions of a shepherd or even a sheepdog, but in the sense, you know, he's
like vocally,
Vocally, he's just not inclined. I mean, you can see that through his interview processes all the time.
Yeah.
That's just how he is. He's a very private person, and he just lives a private life, and, like, that's it. Once he steps on that cord, turns it on, right?
Yeah, and then, like, I'm sure we all have friends that are, like, either, like, sheeps or shepherds or, like, wolves. And, like, they all change depending on who they're around, too. I feel like if you're, like, let's say you have a group of, like, 8 friends, right? So everyone might have, like, a set role, but then if you, like, take 4 friends out of that group and now it's only like 4 of the other 4, like people's roles might change just based on personalities and
definitely stuff like if it's just us 3, right, you, me, and Waffles, the dynamic might change if we threw another person in, like our other friend who lives in Sac, we'll call him Age, right? Like if he gets thrown in here, our whole dynamic may shift depending on the context. It's always contextual.
Or it could just be like another person just like added into a different role that wasn't filled.
When you get unfamiliar variables, everything's just chaotic until we can, like, again, sift through the sand and figure out what's what, you know?
What would you say you're more like, though?
For me, most situations, I tend to try to become either the sheepdog or the shepherd. Just because that's just how I've always been raised, right? I don't follow the path. I don't follow anyone else's path just because I think, okay, that path's been done before. And it becomes like a great example is just my path of like trying to choose what I wanted to do as a profession, right? Currently, I'm moving in towards the arts because I just love the expression of art, right? But before that, you know, I've gone through like firefighting, right? I went through that process ever so slightly, but I still went through much of the process. And I noticed, oh wow, you know, there's a lot of shepherds and there's a lot of sheepdogs in here. Not a lot of there's a lot of individualism, but at the same time, I felt like when I was going through the process in Arizona of trying to become a firefighter, like wow, they have it well taken care of because of the people I was growing with in that whole pact. So I don't think I need to take on this role because we have enough people who are doing that. I need to move on to something more purposeful for me, because I know that the people that I was training with, they got it locked down and they're way more inclined and way more driven for this goal than I am, right? I was like, okay, I want to save lives for sure. That's goal number 1. But it became a thing of like, oh, I don't have as much in terms of like sponsorship. I wasn't as driven enough to go after it. Again, and that was because I saw who was and who was out driving me, and I was like, they have this handled, right? I have faith in the fact that they're going to become those shepherds of their firefighting forces or EMT or police forces. They're going to become great people for it. And I hope that comes true, and I really do.
So you would say, like, there's no situations where you find yourself being like a sheep or like a wolf?
I tend to stray away from that. there are times where I don't mean to be the wolf, but like it happens, right? Always accident, or not always. It's unintentional. But
Totally
there are
right.
times when like you become a wolf and you don't notice until someone calls you out, right?
Totally.
Because you think you're the shepherd and like you realize that you've actually been the wolf the whole time.
I feel like this is totally random, but like a sheep is kind of like a simp, and a wolf is kind of like a fuckboy.
A little bit like an alpha and a beta, right?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of, right? Like in the sense of like, I mean, what's
like
that?
I guess like like a sim, whatever a girl tells you, or like a girl or a guy, whatever you can sim for either gender, right? But
Yeah.
like whatever the person you're interested in tells you to do, you'll just do it. Versus like a fuckboy is like, I don't really care. I'm gonna just do me. If you get hurt in the process, you get hurt in the process.
Well, that's the funny thing is again, and it sucks because you guys weren't there to like reiterate this story or like to recount it. But I was in a friend group like that where I had friends who were like, in a sense, wolves, but more shepherdish, where they would like put themselves completely out there and be like, hey, I'm not getting into a relationship. I'm putting like all my standards out. This is what I got for you. If you want it, take it. If you don't, then leave it. But if you get caught up in it, right, you can't get on me for catching feelings. Right? I've had friends like that, and you can't blame them. You know, they set their boundaries, they set their standards. So
I don't know if that would be a full wolf though, because I feel like a wolf is kind of more like.
No, that's what I meant though. Like it had like, but it kind of had like wolf mentality.
Tendencies, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like he did front load everything, and he did preface you with everything. So at that point, it's like. You're the one who becomes the sheep who just follows into it. Yeah. Exactly. And when you get burned,
or you choose to ignore whatever
like this shepherd didn't want that flock, and you just decided to keep following. You know what I mean? So that's always a scenario. I don't know. Like every time I think of shepherd, though, my first thought always goes to Bible. You know, we all grew up into. I mean,
we all went to like private Catholic schools.
Yeah, we went to schools where they taught us about Christianity, the Bible. Specifically Catholicism, right? All the way up through high school. And they always say that Jesus was the shepherd, right? And this is how I always imagined a shepherd, right? Because shepherds don't lead from the front, right? For the way I imagine or I like envision how like a good way of running like a whole system would be like the shepherd's always leading from the back, right? There's actually a story in the Bible where they say, and trust me, I'm spiritual, right? So I'm not just Catholic, I don't have any religion, so I'm not affiliated with any religion. I do try to study all of them because I just like, I don't know, I like the blends of them. Anyway, so here's the parable is Jesus is the shepherd, and one sheep strayed away so far, and the rest of the pack was continuing on forward, right? Jesus leaves the pack to go grab that one stray, right? And in that process, right, everyone in that pack, they don't go on because the shepherd's not leading from behind. He's off to go pick up that last sheep who needs guidance back with the pack, right? So if I was in that scenario, not saying Jesus, but if I had to be like a shepherd in that sense, I would do the same thing. I would make sure I had my sheepdogs to make sure all the other sheep don't get scattered while I'm away, right? That's how I think it should be run in the sense of like organization, you know?
Yeah.
Because that way we have maintenance and like people who are still waiting on the last person trying to catch up to the rest of the pack, you know, in that sense. Or if they don't, you know, in that process of trying to figure that out, we still have some order maintained, right?
Yeah. So there's this like it's not like off topic, but it's like if you look at corporate America, you know how you just said like people should lead from like the back.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they don't lead from the back.
Oh,
they lead from the front because a lot of people who work on like let's say like lower end jobs or like entry level jobs, right? They don't get like the people at the top don't gather them in and like fill them in on all the information before they move forward with a project or something. And then now all those people end up like being behind, and the top people all they see is like, oh, you're not performing, we're just gonna fire you, instead of being like, okay, we didn't do our part in training you the right way or prepping you. So like, let's take a moment to get you caught up, and then like see where you can go from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like in corporate America, it's like totally backwards.
In corporate America, yeah, I agree. And I see it a handful of times through like videos that I watch. So I can't. I mean, don't take my words verbatim or don't take it as is. But in certain instances, right, that is what happens. Is like the person who's trying to lead, they kind of leave the pack, they just like cut their way through and they just keep going to the point where they get to their success, and then they start trickling the rest of their success onto others, right? So that works, but in the sense like you kind of lose people in that process because it's like, okay, we're going as a team, and then now we have the captain, and now captain's getting all the glory, and it's not giving it to the rest of the people,
And then, like, in that process, you might have missed so many things that other people could offer.
Right.
And then now you're only sticking to one way when you could have been branching out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the thing was every time for some reason on my social medias, when I check in on them, I always get like something similar to that where it's like, oh, a boss is someone who just yells and tells you what to do, and they're like, and it shows like a guy like sitting on like or standing on like a pedestal getting pulled to and instead it's like a leader is actually in the mud with everyone, and like they're pushing from behind, and like everyone's working as a unit and everyone's going together, and like that's how I see it. I mean, like look at like Star Wars is a good example, right? Like Yoda and Obi-Wan, right? They're helping the like youngest Jedi to become the greatest, and don't quote me and don't like get on me about like, oh, you're saying your Star Wars facts wrong. It's just an example. It's a small example, but like that's how it is, right? Yoda picks Luke Skywalker. He's a Skywalker, and in the sense, right? Like they go off to I forget what it's called, the planet where like literally they train in isolation, right? Do you remember? Do you know?
I think I like to call it Yoda's hovel.
They have a name for that planet. I forget what it's called, but you know what I'm talking
It's Yoda's. It's just where Yoda goes.
You know
Yoda's
what I'm
like,
talking about, though, right?
yeah, that planet where he's on his back the whole time.
Yeah. But I mean, like,
So then Yoda's a boss.
I mean, he is, but at the same time, he's just he's raising the next shepherd, isn't he? So, when do we exchange hands of shepherd to shepherd, right?
I'm gonna just
Jump in here.
Jump in right here. Here's my thing, right? If you look at because I'm a sheep, because what you guys said earlier, when I was like, because we talked about it a little bit earlier, and I was all like, no, I'm a shepherd. I lead from the back. Nah, I'm a flat out sheep because I don't give a fuck about.
I feel like you're a sheep, but you're also what's the other one? The sheep, the dog,
sheepdog.
The sheepdog.
Yeah. I think I'm the sheepdog
because you have caring tendencies.
I do have a very caring tendencies, but here's the thing.
But you're just not the one to like take charge of the full caringness, if that makes sense.
No.
Like, okay. Chris in SF, right?
Yeah.
Charles would have been the shepherd in that situation, aside from the moment when you got Chris from the club, right? But for the most of the night, you were the sheepdog.
Right.
Whereas in that whole situation, I was still the wolf. Right? So like, because Charles was the shepherd, like he was like, okay, this is what we got to do. I got to take care of him, do all this. And then you did your initial part. And then after that, you're like, I'm going to take a seat back while Charles got this. And then there's Egg, who was just a sheep, even though she technically knew the most. But she was just like not in the right frame of mind to help. So she was just listening to whatever. And then there's me on the other hand, it's just like, well, if we have to go back to drop off Kendall, we're going to go back to drop off Kendall because I don't care.
The reason why I say I'm a sheep is because in that moment, you're right. So the story is our friend went out for a birthday party. He got smashed and the club threw him out. But he was too smashed to make his way anywhere. So he conked out on the sidewalk. He puked, conked out, did some push-ups, conked out again. And it was me, our friend Age, and this guy. We're all walking to get a pizza, get a call. Hey, your homeboy's fucked. Out of the three of us, I was the only one to go ahead and say, all right, I'll go get him. But I want to reiterate, once we did get him and we brought him back to where we were going to put him, I was like, so I'm going to get drunk. The rest of it, figure it out.
Okay, but see, you did the initial step, right? So you showed like the most caring in the beginning, right? So you did care. Whereas me, the whole time was like, no, I drove here, but I'm just going to let Kendall drive my car because I don't care.
The way I see it as like, he's the guy who's like reluctant about it.
Thank you.
So if someone raises their hand first,
that's why I said
he's the last one to raise his hand, but he will raise.
Yeah, but you will be like, okay, if someone raises their hand, you will do whatever to help them. You just won't do the overarching amount of work.
There's a caveat to that. If someone asks. If no one asks,
let me explain.
Let me explain
it, right? My whole mentality is this. Go ahead, put me in any situation. I'll come up with an answer. Now, that answer will go ahead and I'll sit there and I'll go ahead and look at you and be like, nah, this bitch probably got a better idea.
Right.
So let's go ahead and hear your idea. If your idea doesn't work, I'll go look at this bitch and go, this guy has an idea. If no idea works, then I go ahead and say, why don't we do this? And then that's usually when people go, there's the guy. There's the smart guy that we needed right now.
The guy with the last thought. You're just like, we're like bouncing every thought we can in our head and we just can't find. It's like,
And you
like
come up with some dumb shit that works.
it's like that, the SpongeBob movie is like, oh, there's a letter Z. That's you. You're letter Z. You're just the last guy.
It's like, we've tried everything A through Y. And then it's like, what about Z? Oh shit. And I'm Z.
Yeah, that's
right.
him.
Because like, here's the thing, right? I can't remember what I was doing, but I was working with this team and they're like, we need to figure out how to work this problem. It was probably like one of my coding projects. And I was like, well, so what's your guys' idea? In my mind, I knew exactly how to do this whole thing. I was like, where the fuck you going?
That's the thing is, I'm very much the same way in the sense of like, I have a great idea, but in my head, so let me hear your guys' ideas first. And if it's better, then I'll feed mine in and like, it's hard to like wiggle that in, right? In a team effort without trying to feel like you're stepping on people's toes, right? Because it's like, go ahead and say your idea. You kind of trump card people in that sense, where you're like, say your idea. I think mine's better, but go ahead and say yours. You know?
Well, my thing is because I am also a sheep in most instances, right? As a sheep, I know exactly what they're thinking.
Oh, sure.
Tons of people in this world.
To be good as a shepherd, you have to think as a sheep, you have to think as a sheepdog, and you have to think as a wolf. You have to think from every perspective to be a good shepherd, right? Or else, how do you know what they're going to be thinking, right?
Right, exactly. Those are the qualities of a shepherd. But I get why you say I'm kind of like a sheepdog, but really I'm
are
a sheep.
for sure. Like,
okay, well, technically, I feel like, so if we're gonna put on percentages wise, right? I would say like 50% Kendall is a sheep, and then like we'd go like 30% you're like a sheepdog, and then the 20% maybe you're a shepherd in school or something.
Maybe.
And that's like where I'm sitting, or maybe like 15% or something.
I like to think I'm like.
But there's no percentage that's going to be
He has
wolf.
like a... No, I think
I'm not a wolf.
I would say it's like 50 sheep, 50... Or like 49, and like a hidden 2% shepherd.
Right.
The shepherd like comes out when no one else wants to be. Right. You know?
I feel like the shepherd comes out when Kendall's not with his friends. When it's with people he doesn't know at all.
No, for sure.
Because then if they don't have any impressions of him, he's able to do like whatever.
Okay, that is very true because all my friends, I love them.
Well, I just feel like we won't give you the credit enough to be in that position.
Y'all bitches would be like this. You guys would have broken arms and broken legs and say we need to cut down this tree to get the safety.
I would use my
I would have a chainsaw, and this bitch would use his teeth.
Yeah. And we'd be like, we don't trust you.
So worried. Bro, I'd be like, drop the chainsaw. We don't even trust you with sharp objects.
Right.
Please drop it.
I'd be the only one. I'd be the only because here's a classic example, right? Charles. Sorry, I said Charles.
It's cool.
Age brings this up all the time. I was with Chris and a couple other friends. Everybody was plastered, like they were just gone, and shit was starting to hit the fan. Charles needed someone to have his back, and I slapped myself across the face, and I said, "You got 10 minutes of sober me, and if we don't solve this problem in 10 minutes, you shit out of luck."
I play Saw with people who's like, you got 10 minutes or else it's game.
No, but like I feel like that's true though, because like
that's that 2% of shepherd.
Yeah, everyone's tolerance lasts like a different amount, but like when you're not in the right frame of mind and some shit goes sideways, there's a part of your brain that just hits sobriety real fast. But everyone's tolerance is different. So some people are like, oh, now I'm sober for the rest of the night, and other people's are like, alright, bro, like I can only sustain this soberance for like a short period of time, and like after that, it's just gonna hit me again. So at least he knows.
Right. So a lot of my Arizona friends can attest to this, but I was definitely more of a shepherd there, at least when we were partying, because there was a lot of instances where like we'd get caught up in like terrible situations, and we'd all be drinking either the same or usually I'd be drinking more than anyone, right? And in that stage of drinking, right, when shit literally hit the fan, I would be the one that like instantly was like, turn it on, turn it off. You know, like, I'm sober now. What do we need to figure out? Tell me the facts. I gotta figure this out because no one else is gonna sober up anymore. So how are we gonna figure this out? You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm that guy. I'm like, okay, Okay, what happened? Sober. Now tell me. You know?
And see, that's why I think if you're taking my opinion right, you're a sheepdog and a shepherd mainly all the time. Because you, like, this whole thing, everything we're doing in this room right now was because you showed up out the gate. I hadn't seen this man in a year.
Yeah.
2 years or a year?
No, yeah, because we saw him in December of 2019.
All right, so I hadn't seen this man in a year. He just came out the gates. Bah! Let's change our lives. That's what you did. And then this guy's the wolf because
Well, okay, in this situation, I feel like I wasn't the wolf.
He was the sheepdog at the beginning.
he was a sheepdog, but I'm saying he's a wolf.
You were definitely in. So let's start.
In this very one situation, I was not the wolf.
So I came back after 3 years in Arizona. I haven't seen these guys in a year. Come back home to California, and I don't remember. We jumped into like a Facebook Messenger. Right? I jumped into Facebook
We added you to the group chat.
Yeah.
And then you were like, "Hey guys, ideas."
Well,
Well,
someone
no,
brought it up.
I thought you asked. No, what the fuck?
No,
This
okay, so
motherfucker showed up to my dad's house and was like, "I got a mic and a dream, and let's run this shit."
Pretty much. No, it was something. You guys were talking about like doing an OnlyFans.
Oh, for the
And I was like, oh, if
Yeah,
we're doing like content creation, I kind of always wanted to do a podcast. And you guys were like, well, we keep talking about it. And I was like, got him. I was like,
we
got him.
weren't talking about a podcast in general. We were just talking about hella content stuff.
Yeah.
But then,
no, because I remember that. Because
Yeah,
like I
and I
said,
think-
you guys said OnlyFans. And
and
I
I
was
feel like the biggest thing also was like ages in sack. And if I was gonna record, it would just be him in front of the camera, and that's not gonna like,
yeah.
Right.
like it's good. But then like we need someone for him to talk to or like do
Right.
stuff,
And
right?
so-
I get lonely up here. I get
So-
lonely carrying this pot. No, I'm just
Pretty
kidding.
much. True. No, so like, yeah, so we were talking about like content creating, and I was like, I've always thought about wanting to do a podcast. And then I think it was Age who was like, well, I kept saying that too, but things just couldn't fall. Like the stars weren't aligning. And I was like, okay, well,
It also
I have a
it
mic.
also doesn't help that he was the furthest away. So
Yeah.
like it doesn't. He doesn't.
But like the thing is this, right? If you look at us as a general, right? If you took you out of the picture and you put me, Age, and Neil in a room, we go, here's an idea. And you'll see me, and this is why I say I'm a sheep. Because I'll go, that's an amazing idea. That's a brilliant idea. We should totally do that. But while you're doing that, I will be at home in bed. You give me a call when it's all set up.
that was the thing. That was the thing that made, I think, me more of like the shepherd was calling you on your shit. Because he was like, yeah, I'm down, man. I was like, all right, I'm on my way. I was like, bro, I'm on my way. I got a mic.
Caught my ass.
Let's run this. And you were like,
He caught my ass. He
okay,
knew.
I guess.
His guy knew. He knew I'd be lazy. He knew I'm a lazy fuck. And he knew, but he also knew if he confronted me and was like, check it out,
Yeah.
I couldn't say no.
I called your bluff, yeah. And
you did.
You couldn't back it down.
Right. And so that's where I'm like, you're a shepherd and you're a sheepdog because he will be the first
I feel
one.
like he was a shepherd all the way on this. Well, okay,
On
you're
that-
talking about in general.
but no,
but
but
in
in
this
other-
general, in this instance,
In other
100%
instances, for
shepherd,
sure, because
100%
like when people
sheep,
have ideas,
100% dog.
I'm sorry. But when people have ideas, I'm not one to shoot them down. I'm like, okay, let's explore those ideas. Like, where do we want to take these ideas, right? Let's take them to wherever, as far as you want to take them. So in that sense, whoever's idea that is, I'm gonna let you run that idea. I'm gonna be the sheepdog to be like, okay, let's keep motivating until you feel like you run out of steam. Once that's the case, then my sheepdog is done because the shepherd has retired at that point, right? So that's as far as I go as a sheepdog. I'm not gonna overstep and be like, let me take over for you.
Right.
If it's your idea, you run your idea. You know what I mean?
Right.
You run that. I'll do whatever I can to support.
Right. But like in things that like where we could, like the round table, right? Like imagine we're at the round table, right? You'd definitely be King Arthur because and then he would definitely be, who's that bitch?
Like
The
Merlin?
big bitch. No, like the one that like fucking takes him. Not Leonidas, the fucking spear. He was in Fate Stay Night.
Oh, Saber.
No,
Oh,
that was King Arthur. The other one, the Dark Knight. The Dark.
Oh, Iskander. Iskander?
No, the Dark Knight. Can you?
Oh, Lancelot.
Lancelot. Thank you. No, like Iskander. He was the king. He was a different guy.
You said
Yeah.
big guy, and I thought of Ryder.
No, because if
from
you
Fate
think,
Stay.
if you look
Fate
at
Zero.
if you look at everybody's incarnation of the round table,
Okay,
they're always
but
like,
like-
there's King Arthur, and then there's fucking Lancelot.
Yeah, that's true.
Lancelot comes up like a badass. That's what he does. That's what this guy did. He showed up and he was all like,
He's
listen,
a berserker for sure.
I don't.
No, he is. He's the berserker
Yeah.
for sure. In the sense of like, he's like, what do we fucking shut? Let's go. You know?
He's all like, literally, this guy can go ahead and say, hey, you free? And he'll say yes. And then you'll go, this is my idea. And this motherfucker will be like,
We
all
all.
right, whenever you're ready.
And then
Like,
this guy's the sheep who just like okay, yeah. Like,
I'm like the sheep, but I'm also like the sheep dog because then I'll show up and I'll be like, okay, this is good. Now let's add a little spice.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's all
I think like early on you were like more sheep, and then as you started getting into it, you're like, oh, this is actually a cool thing. Then you're like,
No, for
let
sure.
me be like a sheep.
But I think
Yeah.
that's how it goes. Is like for him to activate his potential. Like we really have to be on our game, but at the same time, like he like fills in those gaps that we miss. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like for us, it's like you and I go like bing, 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 and then we get to a point, and then he shows up, and we're like, okay, like should we do it here or here? And he's like, let's actually do this, and you're like, oh wow, actually that's actually pretty good. Or
Right.
wow, new perspective, nice. Let's do it
Right.
that way.
But like, if we're just talking straight life, you're a wolf. You're a wolf,
I
and
feel
here's
like
why.
in terms
He's
of
got
like,
a little bit. He's got some sheepdog in
so
him.
like
though.
Yeah.
in terms of like percentages, I would go like 70% wolf, and then like there's like maybe 20% sheepdog, and then the last 10% is like shepherd in some occasions.
He's a wolf who's like.
in the sense that I always plan shit.
Here's
Like,
the thing.
So like,
Okay, I'll give you that.
Here's the thing. He's the wolf who files his fangs.
Okay,
Does that
no,
make sense?
here's
in the
what I-
sense that like he'll bite you, but it's not gonna cut. You know what I mean? Like he's like,
unless you really,
let me
really
rephrase.
piss me
It's
off.
not gonna cut deep.
No,
wait, let me rephrase that even more. It's not gonna be fatal.
No, it's not that. What he is right. Because here's why I said you're 100% wolf. But you're right, because like in the group, right, in all of our
No,
friends,
he's definitely the wolf in the group
right,
for sure.
right.
But
But
in a
like,
positive manner, because we need a wolf in the group to get the sheep moving, or to like give us that sense of panic where it's like he's calling us on all of our
right.
shit.
No, like
We gotta-
okay, like check it out, right. So you're not like a wolf like Austin, right? Like Austin.
Austin's not a wolf.
No. He is. Because here's what he'll do. He will. His whole thing, at least when I'm and he's in my presence, is he loves to be the chaotic being. That's just like
He
okay,
does like
classic-
to stir up the pot.
classic
He does
example.
Like to stir up the pot.
When we were all drinking at your house at one time,
Bro, there's been
Many
you gotta
times.
specific-
the
I've been
time
there
with 1,000% pain. The time with 1,000% pain.
Yeah.
This is what this motherfucker does. He takes the lightest weight out of everybody there, and whenever she takes a sip of her cup, he would take the bottle and fill it up. She got so sloshed she didn't notice, so she just kept drinking. And then we took. So this is what this is what we do because we're idiots.
Low key, okay. This isn't in the.
I think
This
this is
isn't.
starting to become a thing of like chaotic neutral versus like chaotic.
That isn't that kind of
bad,
the whole
chaotic
thing.
Good.
If you
yeah, we
get-
kind of try to summarize it down too small. I think we should broaden it.
I was gonna
Right, to
say
the
like
6.
Austin
nine.
would be like a fox.
Well, okay. Well, if we're gonna get to go there,
If
then
we're
I
going
say he's a
animals-
hyena.
If
Yeah.
we're going animals, shoot. I'm Sun Wukong.
That's a god.
The Monkey King.
if we're going drawing utensils, I choose a crane. Like what the fuck?
I choose Cad.
Like I choose cat. But like here's what I say. Like Austin's a wolf because we were idiots and he brings out this fucking hot sauce called 1,000% pain and goes, don't worry. We eat it, we're screaming like chickens with their heads cut off. No, that's dumb. You can't
Now
scream
we were
without a
just
head.
saying, yeah.
But he goes, but this is what he does
Fine.
to the same girl.
Our friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say girl. We've been friends since children. There's nothing we could do to
We've
really
been
hurt her
friends,
We made
feelings.
sure she got home safe.
Right.
Everything's cool.
When
I'm
it
still
comes
a
to
child at heart, bro. So we've been friends since children. I'm a child at heart.
you're a child hour that talks about existentialism.
Oh, for sure.
Either way, we did that 100% pain hot sauce, and his bright idea was to take our friend and say, check it out. If you do a shot now, like water. They did 3 shots. That's why he's a wolf, because he'll take you and he'll go,
Side note.
Yeah.
Have you seen those videos where the bartenders are like, it's vodka, but it's water, and you see the people just take the shot and they go crazy black real quick. They're
like
like,
they do it, and they're just like,
it's like that was just water, and there's like, and they're already
Okay,
like half passed
He
out.
stirs the pot, but I feel like he doesn't bite.
no,
No,
that's what I'm
yeah.
saying.
No, for
that's
sure,
why,
he
like,
stirs the pot.
I say he's a wolf because here's
He's
my
a
thing.
wolf with no fangs.
He's-
You're a wolf that doesn't. You're a wolf that doesn't fucking fatal. You don't fatally
They,
kill
like,
people.
he goes
He's a wolf
to
with
you,
no fangs.
and he stabs you in the stomach, but he doesn't like move the blade. He's just like,
Or
There's
like
a
he
hole in your
avoids all
body.
the
No,
vitals.
no, no. He just pokes the bear.
Yes.
But he doesn't stab the bear or like, kill the bear or anything.
No, he
just-
pokes
Right.
the bear and makes sure the bear's first focus is not him.
Right,
That's
yeah.
it.
He's like, he pokes the bear and he goes,
He
I just
pokes
have
the
to
bear
be
for
faster
someone
than
else.
you. Yeah. You, on the other hand, you like to play with the knife.
No,
You
he
like to
takes-
drag it across somebody's face and go, but I love you.
Have you seen Nacho Libre?
Yeah.
He's the guy who takes or like the scene where he grabs the fucking beehive and just tosses it. That's him. He's just like, and he's just off into the distance.
Because this is how it is, right? If I'm in any sort of danger, like 100% any sort of danger, this motherfucker, you too.
Oh,
but
for
I
sure.
call him
no,
first
But he's
because-
the one who. But that's
yeah.
the thing is, he instigates and then I just follow up.
Right.
So I sheepdog his wolf.
Right, exactly. But if I'm in any kind of trouble, I can call this motherfucker, and this motherfucker will be like, "Yeah, I got the money for you. Like,
Pretty
I'll get
much.
you out of jail." Like,
But
when
at the same time, he's gonna give you a lip all the way home.
motherfucker, he
and
doesn't.
then
He
some.
doesn't. You take so like when I first, if I, you know, that night when little known fact about me, I got taken into custody once. No problem at all. I'm not a felon, but I was in the drunk tank. I called this motherfucker. The only reason why he didn't pick up, was because of some bullshit where you need to activate. So
Yeah,
you need
'cause I
to
was
flip a
up, I would have
switch.
been like,
Yeah, and he would have been there. Little did I know they weren't going to let me go until 8 a.m.
Yeah.
So there was no point. But he would have been there. But he also would have been the same person to pick my ass up and been like, "You stupid motherfucker."
He did. I mean, he didn't pick you up, but he did
But-
call you a stupid motherfucker.
But when I say instead of, but take
in
out
a loving
stupid
way, though, right?
motherfucker
In a loving
and then
way.
slide in some sly comment that does hit you in the feelings. Like, cause like in another episode that you'll probably hear, I was like, I don't have big titties. Like I said, we don't have big titties, and that's why we're not famous on TikTok. And this motherfucker just flat out goes, "No, you have big titties." That's why they're not famous on TikTok. Right? That's him. And that's why I say you're a wolf. Because the wolf,
Well, I
you'll
know.
bite the ankle, you just won't take the whole sheep.
yeah, that's very
Right.
But in a good, like I said, in a very positive way, because if
But
we
then
didn't
this-
have. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
but this kind of goes back to like maybe it's based on how you're raised.
Oh,
I was raised with like tough love, which like some people just view as like you'd be like antagonizing people, which it kind of is, right? Like you told like, I guess now we call it fat shaming or whatever. Like some families do that, right? But then like they're not doing it because they're like, you have to be this gorgeous person with it. They just want you to be healthy, right?
Right.
Oh,
But like obviously everyone goes about it different ways, and then like the families that do like tough love, they just go about it in ways that are not accepted
So
by
effectively
society.
what you're saying is if you're the wolf that shows up and goes, "Listen, if I don't eat your sheep, you'd have too many sheep."
kind of.
Yeah, or I
Where's
bite you and I'm like, see, if you were skinnier, I wouldn't want to bite you.
Exactly.
I would
right
have
there.
caught your ankle. See, you know, because I know the tough love thing, dude. I was the youngest boy in my group of cousins and family on my mom's side, right? Even on my dad's side, I'm the youngest boy. And, dude, I got scissor locked by my cousin who was like 15 to 20. You work with him, my cousin James. He would scissor lock me. I was like 4. He would get me in scissor locks, dude. Everyone would make fun of me. I was the big crybaby. And that's what made me the person I am. You know what I
Right.
mean? In that sense.
You
So-
took that and went, "I'm gonna be something different."
For sure.
I took that and went, "I'm gonna own this
Well,
shit."
100.
well, 'cause
And now
like
the
some-
world just bends to my will.
Because like some people take the tough love and they're like, okay, I'm gonna lead other people so they can learn in different ways. And then there's people like me that are like, oh, we all gonna learn the same way. we
Like-
gonna learn today.
And see, here's the no, that's 100% it. Because I was gonna say like something I was gonna do today. It was great. I was talking to Cassie,
Mhm.
and this is where I say like tiny, maybe like 0.001% of me is the wolf, but not really because I still sheeped out. I was all like, "Listen, babe, if you don't want to fix this, I'm gonna make it your problem." And she went, "You can try." And so I, butt ass naked, I put my hand on the doorknob and I was like, I can make it a whole problem that affects both of us a lot, or you can do what I say. And she went, "I'm not gonna do what you say, and you're not gonna go outside." So that's why I said a sheep out, because part of me really did want to just go out in the hallway, but also I want to live there.
Don't want to burn that bridge.
Yeah, like I don't want to get arrested for real. And that's why I'm a sheep. But like, again, right? Like you have your shepherd moments, and you have mainly your wolf.
Well, yeah,
moments.
I think that's like what we're trying to get at. Like, no one person has
Oh, yeah.
100%
Oh,
one
no.
thing.
Right.
People wear different hats based on who they're around, right? Like,
100%.
let's say you're around someone who's like a super sheep. You're not about to just sheep with them. Like, you're probably gonna be like, nah, but we're gonna get nowhere.
If I sheep
right
with
here.
them, then nothing
Okay.
gets done.
This is a bad example. But we have a friend who owns an RV. If you were hanging out with that friend, I feel like you would not be a sheep. There's no way you'd be a sheep.
No, I can't. I
Hold
can't
on,
sheep
hold on.
with that.
He sheeps until he knows he has to
No.
shepherd.
But I feel like from the moment he hangs out with her, he knows he can't be like his regular like sheep stand.
Right.
Okay,
yeah.
so then he's sheepdog until he has to shepherd up.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So like everyone has situations and people where they're like, all right, this person cannot like they need help. Like I need a guide.
Right, yeah. Like, because our friend, right, like, like, good friend, love her the most, but, like, can't really, you can't show up to that and go, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, it's not going to go.
I think that
Because then nothing will happen.
There's been
Either
two-
we don't do anything or things hit the fan very fast.
So that's the thing was, the 2 times we hung out with her, I sheepdogged up.
Yeah.
I was like, you know them more, so you be the shepherd. I'll just make sure to maintain everything else
Right.
around.
And like,
And that's how it turned out,
goes,
because
yeah.
you and I were like going back and forth, like, hey, this no, yeah, this yeah, okay, this no. Let's just play a board game. Let's just keep it.
Let's play a board
contained.
game and drink to the board
Pretty
game.
much. You're
Like-
contain. All
like-
right, we good.
It's like a little known fact. Her favorite game is King's Cup, right?
oh my god.
When you play King's Cup,
King's Cup and lightweight people do not go along.
right, yeah, exactly, right?
What
like-
is that board game we need to play?
We do need to play that game again. But like our favorite game, King's Cup. You take King's Cup, you end your night on King's Cup. You don't
dude,
start
for
your
sure.
night on King's Cup
I mean,
and then go further.
no. Some people start their game on night on
No.
King's Cup.
You start your night on King's Cup.
No.
You
The
can
time
travel
we were at
back.
his house for his going away thing,
Oh
we
my
started
goodness,
on
oh my
King's.
goodness.
Oh, technically they started on BP, but like
we did
Yeah.
so many games I
Yeah.
lost
they
track.
did BP to King's Cup.
We did BP, we did Fuck the Dealer, and then we did King's Cup.
Yeah.
Right. That
And then I had to go to Arizona the next morning.
right, but and it wasn't like we showed up here and then went, let's figure it out and start with BP, then Fuck the Dealer, then King's
It
Cup.
just
No,
happened that.
we were in a place where drinking was the plan.
Yeah, that's true.
So everything was handled.
Everyone had a mindset.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was like, gotta ride home, know where I'm staying, let's get fucked. When our friend who owns the RV comes into the picture, there's no plan there.
No,
It's-
there isn't.
Hey, we're hanging out. You want to hang out? Yeah. Well, now
Okay,
we're
okay.
bored. Let's drink. Which it's always good to have a friend like that.
Oh, for
It's
sure.
Yeah.
always fun.
Like tying this all back, I feel like everyone has that role, and you, like you said earlier, like we do need friends who are like wolves, and we do need friends who are like sheeps and stuff, right? Sometimes,
Oh, yeah.
like
Everyone
if
needs
you're
to
a
play their role.
shepherd, you do need someone that's like, oh, I am willing to listen to you, so that way you feel like, okay, I'm doing the right thing or whatever.
Right.
Feel like
That's
everyone,
another
everyone
thing,
has their
too.
role, and it's like sometimes you just gotta like, okay, this is my role in this situation. I'm just gonna be the best whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing too, is sometimes you gotta know who's not fit for certain roles, right?
But see,
steps
this
up
is
to
where the
become-
wolf comes in handy, because the wolf's the one that's gonna call you out.
No, for sure, and that's
Right.
why one of the wolves are almost one of the more integral pieces, is because like
They keep you honest.
they keep the shepherd. Yeah, exactly. They keep the shepherds in track, right? If a shepherd's doing a bad job, you'll know because the wolves are getting the sheep.
Right.
Right.
And like I used to have my wolf moments where I was like a bitch wolf. Like, cause I'm that wolf. Remember when I just started, hitting the reefer? I was going to everyone was like, check it out, try it out with me, try it out. And there was that night, and I was with Chris, our friend that owns the RV, my true love Cassie, and then her brother got into the mix. Sorry, not Cassie's brother. Our friend's brother got into the mix. And then, who was Chris with that night? Nagar.
I've never done the RV night, so
I've done
Eh,
one.
they're done now. They're done.
Are they done for good?
I mean, she doesn't live here anymore. We can't.
Eh.
I mean, maybe next time we'll do an RV night. It'll be
we'll do
fun.
an RV podcast.
We
We
could.
could-
We
we
could
could.
definitely do that.
We can do whatever we want. That RV, I love it. Her parents are, I'll just say the name, Amber's parents. I love them so much because they flat out, they know what the fuck we're doing in that RV. They know what the fuck's gonna happen in that
That's the thing,
RV.
it's not-
And they're like,
That's the thing, is we're
Fucking
not
more
doing
power to
anything
you.
like super beyond crazy. We
No.
keep it we keep it within the terms.
It's like
of,
PG-13.
Right.
Yeah, just about.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we'll get there.
For sure.
That's what I love about that whole RV, because I've never stepped in that RV and just gone, we're gonna have a chill night. I step in that RV and go,
like something
thank
gonna
God.
go sideways.
Right, I'm like, I'm Ubering home at 2 a.m. tonight. Like, that's what I love.
I was like, did I walk there last time? I didn't walk there last
You
time.
probably did.
I
mean,
could have,
You
though.
could.
That's how
You easily could.
I could have. I think I said that. I was like, I could crawl there. I really can't.
Like, if worst case scenario,
my leg's broken, like legit, I could just crawl to my bed.
I've flat out like been in that RV and go, worst case, I'm going to Steve's.
Yeah, nice.
So, like, I just want to wrap up soon, but one thing I want to talk about is, like, what happens is, let's say you have, like, a friend group, right? And then someone drops out or something. How do you think that affects, like, who becomes what after?
Oh, well, we have great examples of that.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was at. Like,
how, what happened to the dynamic when Chris dropped?
Right.
Right? Well,
Because
actually, I
initially-
left first, huh? Didn't I?
You
leave
did
before
leave
that?
first.
We
You
both
left
We
first.
both left.
I left.
You were in India.
No.
What do you mean?
He left in 2017 in August, early August, and I left 2 weeks
Oh,
after
that's
him.
when you went to
I
yeah
left
Berkeley.
in-
Yeah.
So we both left at the same
I
time.
left in July, but yeah.
Yeah, we both left like a few weeks
Like
apart
a
from
month
each
or,
other.
less than a month.
But the thing with
And then Homeboy went to Thailand after. No, maybe he went
No, he went
He
after.
went the next year.
He went in the fall.
He went in 2018.
He went
so
into the
there was a
fall.
whole year like where we were gone.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so like you guys would have a better perspective of the fact.
They. Really,
I have
really
the best perspective.
Yeah, so
'cause I
let's
was
get your
just right
perspective
there.
on there.
So like really like so wait, what's the question again?
Like, so how does like these roles change when one person leaves a group or something?
Oh, well, you gotta adapt, right? Like, because with
But then we were
Chris,
talking about earlier, like, okay, there's certain people that shouldn't be in certain situations. So how do you stop like someone filling in the wrong?
So there's
slot?
a fifth rule actually that I kind of realized is the glue, right? Like
Yeah.
who was the glue? What?
I
Like
feel like he was a glue during this whole thing.
I am
he
very
had to
much
be
I'm the
That's the
glue
thing, no,
because none of you, not a single one of you, looks at me and goes, "I have no real reason to be pissed off at this guy."
Well, like
I
there's
thought that
moments
with
when
Chris
we have.
though. I never had any issues.
Right, a lot of us
I think-
feel the same way, but
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
some people there that are like, if he's gonna come back, there's gonna be a conversation.
Oh,
No,
for
no,
sure.
no, I don't
For
even
sure.
know if it's. I don't even think it's at that point. I think everyone else is like they're cool with whatever happens. For me, I'm just like I chose my side, and I hate flip flopping.
Right.
That's just my whole thing. It's
Well,
just I hate flip
But
flopping.
the side you chose, and the guy whose side that was, is 100% just like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but I'm just like, but now we're gonna flip flop. It just goes against my like
Your whole man, your
Yeah,
yourself.
I just don't fuck with the flip flop.
Yeah.
When I heard about that, I just chose no side. Like I heard both perspectives, and I was like, I'm staying.
Also,
I was like, I'm in Arizona. I'm staying out of it.
no, you made the right. And can I just say,
Well, he
that
tried
the
to
flip-
do that too, bro. He
I,
tried to do that.
I tried so hard. At one point, I was like ignoring calls from
He was
everybody.
Like, he was like trying not to be
He was
any
trying to be
role for a moment.
Switzerland.
He's like, I'm trying to be a stray sheep real quick.
He was just
Straight.
trying to be Switzerland in this bitch.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not how. I mean, it worked out.
No,
'cause
no,
in the
he,
end-
he even came out the gate like, I'm about to be Switzerland.
Yeah.
He came out the gate like
Actually,
that.
funny story. When I was in high school, there was like this genuine like bullying thing happening, and they called me in and they sat down these two girls that I was friends with, and they were fighting, and it was a big thing at the school. And they were like, "So what's your opinion on this?" And I flat out went, "I'm Switzerland." And that's all I have to say. And they went. The teacher generally just went,
Respect.
"All right, Switzerland can leave."
if I was the teacher, I'd be like, respect.
Right? Yeah, I was like, I don't give a fuck about both these bitches right now.
Before we because we could go on about this
We're going
situation for
forever,
days,
yeah.
but let's just talk about from your point of view, like how did that dynamic change?
The dynamic really didn't change, right? Because he was Chris in most terms was a
Let's speak
shepherd.
of it in terms of chronology, right? So
Oh.
I left first, then
You
anything
left.
changed.
You left. Some things did change,
Yeah, I feel like
Because
after you left, we didn't go to the beach as much.
right?
That
Because you were that guy that was like, "What are we doing tonight?" And everybody went, "I want to do something tonight." And then
like, it
we
just
went,
felt like it wouldn't be the same going to the beach if Steve wasn't there.
I
It
was
just-
like
it
the.
just-
I guess I was like the
You
idea
did-
guy. I was
you
like,
were the
yeah.
glue for that. You were
I
the
was
glue
like, Yo,
for.
beach? No, okay. Cards, board game. What are we doing?
Right, exactly. So things did change because you were that glue, and like you kind of were the shepherd at that point because you showed up and you're like, "Hey, sheeple, we're doing something tonight," and everybody went, "What? Yeah!" And then you went, we're going to the beach. And everybody would be like, yay! And
Yeah, that's right, dude. Even like the last minute bonfires, they're like, okay, it's happening.
Right.
Let's pop off.
it would be 10 o'clock at night, and we'd be like, what are we doing tonight? And you'd be like, we could go to the beach, and we'd be like, let's head to Safeway.
Let's get the wood.
And
let's
then
get the
you
bucket.
left, and then nothing really changed then because you kind of were the sheepdog. You were like, I'm gonna go.
Well, yeah,
Don't
even leading
fuck
up
up.
to that point, though, I wasn't hanging out with you guys a bunch.
I was gonna say you
So I
kind of
wasn't-
kept your
yeah,
distance.
right.
So in the sense, you were like, you were more of like the observer. You're like, I'm just gonna watch.
Like, I
from
was there at
afar.
moments. I had, like, things people could remember, and that was just out.
Right.
He called it as it was. That was him. He
Right.
called the ball as it lied. He was
Right.
like, okay, that person's being a prick.
Right.
I'm calling you, not you, but like you.
Yeah.
As you'd be like, you're being a prick right now.
Yeah.
Right.
But you did
And
it in
then-
your own way.
Fast forward, like, a whole year, then Homeboy leaves to Thailand.
Homeboy leaves for Thailand, and that did cause a change because, his whole thing was like,
It
he would
caused
be
a
the
change
one.
because before he even left, we wanted him to have a conversation with our friend Age. That's all we wanted. We just wanted him to have the conversation.
Right.
We didn't care if they actually split as friends or whatever. It's just more of like, just do it face to face and do it before you leave. So that way, y'all could just like have your time. Like by the time you get back, y'all have your own lives to worry on.
But
It's just a conversation.
But his whole role really was like he was the unquestionable shepherd. You don't question him on shit because he's not trying to explain the shit. You know what I mean? So when he left,
I would say he was a shepherd that led from the front.
right, and kind of it worked, because like when he left, everything changed because now you got like you're gone. It's really just me, Age, and Chris.
Austin.
And Austin, but Austin, Austin's that Austin's if
No,
we're talking
Austin's
about
that-
sheep,
No, Austin's that one that's like doesn't want to initiate the hangouts, but then gets butthurt when he doesn't get hit.
this
for
is
the
this is
hangout.
what Austin does. This is what Austin
He's the
does.
TFTI guy, huh?
Yeah.
Like he goes, he's like, all right, bye. And he's gone, and he goes, and then he's gone again. And then sometimes he comes up and he goes, oh, yeah, I'm here now.
I think I don't hang out with Austin enough to like kind of hit him down, but from how I see it, he's like that guy that's like he'll like keep quiet, and then when he finds out that something happened, then he'll just be like TFTI, but like really he didn't even want to go anyways. He just wanted to stir that pot and be like, you guys didn't even invite me. And
Right.
we're like, okay, next time we will. And he's like, no, you guys don't have to. It's fine.
Yeah, he's like, I like the invite, but I need to know the information of the invite in case I don't want to fuck with.
Or
some
either
people.
he's that guy who's just like, I want the invite just so I could practice saying no some more. You know, like, I just like saying no to people. So like, hey, you want to come with? No.
Right.
But thank you for letting
But
me say no.
whenever he finally decides to go ahead and says,
He
yeah,
pops
I'm
off, though,
gonna be
yeah.
here, then it's a riot the whole way
It
through.
pops off for sure.
But
So,
yeah,
yeah,
so
so I
things
guess-
changed when Chris left because again, his house was like the place to
Yeah,
be.
That was the sanctuary.
It was a
And we actually,
sanctuary.
like, now if you think about it, no one even goes to that side of town. Like, no one ever
No,
does.
no.
We don't even
It was just because Chris was there and everybody was like, Chris
Well,
is the
dude,
place
that
to
was-
be.
I mean, we baked pizzas there. We made
Played
food.
basketball
we
there.
played basketball.
Squad ball.
No,
We made a whole
we did
game.
squad ball by your house. The park by your house.
No, we
back
played.
country.
We
We
played
did
a couple
there.
times.
We
there,
did
too.
there, but
and he had the ball. That
no,
was,
it was there. It was there.
yeah. It was his ball, like that we
So
had to
funny.
use.
I love squad ball.
We should play that. We should play that.
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
That game was so much fun.
It was a dumb game. We invented it. It was volleyball with the feet, and the first one scored a point. Then you grab tennis balls and play dodgeball.
Yeah, it was very.
Obscure.
I don't remember how we came up with that idea. I'm pretty sure.
Because we had that weird ball from what is it? It's a Filipino or
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they use it for like it's a sport where it's literally foot volleyball.
yeah.
And so we were playing that at the tennis courts, and I think it was me. I think I spurred onto the idea. I was like, wait a minute, we have tennis balls. Let's put them here. Okay. When the ball drops around, I forgot how it goes, but it was like, if once the ball hits the three, you catch it. You're the first one to grab a tennis ball, and then you freaking just peg wherever you can.
yeah. And
Alright,
that,
we gotta wrap up soon.
then with that, yeah, we'll end
So
it here.
I guess sometimes, like when a friend does leave, the roles do change, but other times, I guess they don't change, right?
And
Just
that's
depending
how,
on-
like, that's
depending on who is dropping out. Like if it's not the shepherd, it might not change.
Right.
And that's the thing is, like, if you want to maintain those relationships and you want to keep the group solid, you need those roles to play, right?
And I think
And some
everyone needs
people may
know
have to
their
double
roles,
up
yeah.
on roles
Right.
too.
For,
That's fine.
for
You
example,
just gotta
if
step that up.
you look at this audio chart, right? before I came to sit on this couch, this line was like, just barely going up and down. That's how this couch thing exploded. That's just how. That's what we're trying to get at, people. You each have a role to play in everybody's life, no matter what, right? Without him, you wouldn't know my beautiful face and have the blessing of me in your life. Thank him, and don't forget about me. And with that, it's your boy Waffles
with his God complex, and it's your boy Maui
and Pop Tart
with his God complex, and this is Couch Surfing. Peace.